discovery and rescue. The vast expanse of space stretched out before the UES horizon, Earth's most advanced research vessel. Captain Elara Chen stood on the bridge, her dark eyes scanning the holographic displays that surrounded her. The ship had been exploring the outer reaches of the Andromeda Galaxy for months, seeking signs of intelligent life. "Captain, we're picking up an unusual energy signature from the third moon of the gas giant ahead," reported Lieutenant Kira Nomura, the ship's sensor officer. Her fingers danced across the console, bringing up a detailed scan of the moon's surface. Captain Chen leaned in, her interest piqued. "What kind of energy signature, Lieutenant?" "It's unlike anything we've encountered before, ma'am. It's faint, but it's definitely artificial in origin." Dr. Marcus Reeves, the ship's exobiologist, joined them at the console. His excitement was palpable as he studied the readings. "This could be it, Captain. The proof of extraterrestrial life we've been searching for." Captain Chen nodded, a small smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. "All right, let's investigate. Helm, set a course for that moon. We'll send down a landing party to check it out." As the UES horizon descended through the moon's thin atmosphere, the landing party prepared in the shuttle bay. Captain Chen had decided to lead the mission herself, accompanied by Dr. Reeves, Lieutenant Nomura, and Chief Engineer Zach Torres. The shuttle touched down on the moon's rocky surface, kicking up a cloud of dust. The team disembarked, their environmental suits protecting them from the harsh conditions. They followed the energy signature, trekking across the barren landscape. "The signal's getting stronger," Lieutenant Nomura reported, her handheld scanner beeping insistently. "It's coming from just over that ridge." As they crested the hill, they saw it, a small, sleek spacecraft, its silver hull gleaming in the light of the distant sun. It was clearly damaged, with scorch marks marring its surface and a large crack running along one side. "Incredible," Dr. Reeves breathed, his voice filled with awe. "It's definitely not of human origin." Captain Chen approached the craft cautiously. "Any signs of life, Lieutenant?" Nomura swept her scanner over the ship. "Undetecting one life form inside, Captain. It's faint, but it's there." "All right, let's see if we can get inside and help whoever, or whatever, is in there," Chen decided. Chief Torres examined the ship's hull, looking for an entry point. "I think I can get this hatch open, Captain. Give me a few minutes." As Torres worked, the rest of the team discussed the implications of their discovery. This was the moment humanity had been waiting for, proof that we weren't alone in the universe. But the excitement was tempered by concern for the alien life form trapped inside the damaged craft. With a hiss of escaping air, the hatch finally opened. Captain Chen was the first to peer inside, her helmet light illuminating the ship's dark interior. What she saw made her gasp. Curled up in what appeared to be the pilot's seat was a small, furry creature. It looked almost like a puppy, with large, expressive eyes and a coat that seemed to shimmer with an array of colors. The creature was clearly injured, its breathing shallow and labored. Dr. Reeves pushed forward, his medical scanner already in hand. "It's alive, but barely. We need to get it back to the horizon immediately." Captain Chen nodded, her decision made in an instant. "Torres, can you disable any tracking systems on this ship? We don't want whoever did this coming after us." "On it, Captain," Torres replied, already connecting his tech interface to the alien ship's systems. As Torres worked, Chen and Nomura carefully extracted the alien creature from its seat. It whimpered softly, its eyes fluttering open for a moment before closing again. "It's okay, little one," Chen murmured, cradling the creature gently. "We're here to help you." With the alien secured and the ship's tracking systems disabled, the team made their way back to the shuttle. As they lifted off from the moon's surface, Captain Chen couldn't shake the feeling that they had just stepped into something much bigger than they could have imagined. Back on the UES horizon, the medical bay was a flurry of activity. Dr. Reeves and his team worked tirelessly to stabilize the alien creature, which they had started calling Nova, due to the star-like patterns in its fur. Captain Chen paced outside the medical bay, waiting for news. The rest of the crew was abuzz with excitement and apprehension. They had made first contact with an alien species, but under dire circumstances. After what seemed like hours, Dr. Rees emerged from the medical bay, looking tired but satisfied. "Nova's going to make it, Captain. Its physiology is fascinating, unlike anything I've ever seen. But we've managed to treat its injuries, and it's resting comfortably now." Chen let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. "Good work, Doctor. What can you tell me about our new guest?" Rees ran a hand through his graying hair. "Well, as far as we can tell, Nova is young, possibly even a child by its species standards. Its body can change color and texture, which seems to be both a form of communication and a defense mechanism. And there's something else." He hesitated. "Go on," Chen prompted. "Nova appears to have some sort of telepathic abilities. When it regained consciousness briefly, several of my staff reported hearing. Thoughts, I suppose you'd call them. Feelings of gratitude and relief." Chen's eyebrows shot up. "Telepathic. Are you sure?" Reeves nodded. "As sure as I can be, given the circumstances. We'll need to run more tests, of course, but it's clear that Nova is far more than just an animal. It's an intelligent, sentient being." Captain Chen absorbed this information, her mind racing with the implications. They had not only discovered alien life, but had rescued a member of an advanced, possibly telepathic species. The diplomatic ramifications alone were staggering. "All right, Doctor. Keep me updated on Nova's condition, and let's start working on ways to communicate more effectively. If Nova is telepathic, maybe we can use that to our advantage." As Chen turned to leave, Rees called out, "Captain, there's one more thing. When we were treating Nova, we found this." He held out a small glowing crystal. "It seems to be some sort of data storage device. Lieutenant Nomura is working on decrypting it now." Chen took the crystal, turning it over in her hand. It pulsed with an inner light as if alive. "Good. Let me know as soon as you have anything. Whatever happened to Nova and its ship, I have a feeling it's just the beginning of a much larger story." As she walked back to the bridge, Captain Chen couldn't shake the feeling that the UES Horizon and its crew had just been thrust onto a galactic stage they barely understood. They had set out to find signs of alien life, and instead, they had become guardians of a mysterious and potentially powerful being. The rescue of Nova was just the first step. Now, they had to figure out where the alien had come from, why it had been attacked, and what consequences their actions might have for humanity's place in the cosmos. As the UES Horizon continued its journey through the stars, its crew prepared for the challenges that lay ahead. They had saved a life and made first contact, but the true test of humanity's compassion, ingenuity, and courage was yet to come. Echoes of understanding. Captain Elara Chen stood in the observation deck, her reflection ghosting against the backdrop of stars. The events of the past 48 hours weighed heavily on her mind. Nova, that alien guest, was recovering well physically, but the challenges of communication and trust-building were just beginning. A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. "Captain to the Xenobiology lab." Dr. Reed's voice came through the comm system, an undercurrent of excitement evident in his tone. When Chen arrived, she found the lab transformed. Holographic displays flickered with alien symbols, and in the center of the room, a shimmering field of energy pulsed gently. Dr. Rees greeted her with a grin. "Captain, we've made a breakthrough. That crystal we found with Nova. It's not just a data storage device. It's a key to a form of communication we've never encountered before." Chen raised an eyebrow. "Explain." "The crystal generates a field of quantum-entangled particles. When Nova interacts with it, the field resonates with its brainwaves, creating a sort of telepathic amplifier," Reeves explained, his hands moving animatedly. "We've modified our neural interfaces to tap into this field. In theory, it should allow us to communicate directly with Nova's thoughts." "In theory," Chen repeated, skepticism evident in her voice. "And the risks?" Ree's excitement dimmed slightly. Minimal, we believe, but there's no way to be certain without trying. Chen nodded slowly. All right, set it up. But I want full biometric monitoring and an emergency shutdown protocol in place. We're not taking any unnecessary risks. As the team made final preparations, Nova was brought into the lab. The alien creature's fur rippled with hues of blue and green, its large eyes taking in the room with clear intelligence. When it saw the crystal, Nova let out a soft trill, moving towards it with purpose. Everyone ready? Chen asked, looking around at her crew. Reeves, Nomura, and Torres nodded, their neural interfaces glowing softly at their temples. Chen took a deep breath and activated her own interface. Let's do this. The moment Nova touched the crystal, the world around them seemed to shift. Chen gasped as her mind was flooded with sensations and images unlike anything she had ever experienced. It was as if she was seeing through Nova's eyes, feeling with its senses that went far beyond the human norm. Colors became songs, and emotions took on physical form. Chen saw flashes of a world with twin suns, felt the joy of soaring through crystal spires that sang in harmonies beyond human hearing. But underlying it all was a deep sense of fear and urgency. With an effort, Chen focused her thoughts, trying to form a coherent question. Nova, can you understand us? Are you safe? Who are you running from? The response came not in words, but in a series of vivid mental images. Chen saw a civilization of beings like Nova, their cities built of living crystal that pulsed with energy and thought. She felt Nova's pride in its people's achievements, their harmony with the natural world around them. But then the images darkened. A shadow fell across Nova's world as massive ships appeared in the sky. Chen felt Nova's terror as its people were hunted, their abilities coveted by the invaders. Nova was a child, chosen to carry a vital secret to safety, but its ship had been damaged in the escape. As the connection faded, Chen found herself back in the lab, gasping for breath. The others looked equally shaken, but their eyes were wide with wonder. Did everyone see that? Torres asked, his voice trembling. Nomura nodded, her face pale. Those invaders, they were after Nova's people for their abilities. But there was something more, wasn't there? Something Nova was protecting. Chen turned to the alien, who was looking at them with an expression that seemed almost hopeful. Nova was sent to find help, she said slowly, pieces falling into place. Its people are in danger, and they believe we might be able to assist them somehow. Reeves was already analyzing the data from their neural interfaces. The technology Nova's people possess, it's incredible. The way they integrate with their environment, their telepathic abilities, it's beyond anything we've ever encountered. And now someone is trying to steal that technology, Chen finished grimly, possibly to use as a weapon. Nova trilled softly, its fur shifting to a deep, sorrowful purple. Through the lingering connection, Chen felt its fear for its people, but also a growing trust in the humans who had saved it. We need to decide our next move carefully, Chen said, looking at each member of her crew. Nova's people need help, but we're just one ship. We don't have the firepower to take on an invasion force. Torres spoke up, his engineer's mind already racing. Maybe we don't need firepower, Captain. Nova's people have technology we can barely comprehend. If we can understand it, maybe we can find a way to use it against the invaders. Nomura nodded in agreement. And we should try to contact Earth. The rest of humanity needs to know what's happening out here. As the team discussed their options, Nova watched them intently. Suddenly, the alien's fur began to glow, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the room. It showed a star map, with a pulsing light indicating a location not far from their current position. Chen studied the map, understanding dawning. Is this where we can find more of your people, Nova? Survivors who escaped the invasion? Nova trilled in affirmation, the hologram zooming in to show a small, nondescript planet. Through their connection, Chen felt a sense of urgency. Whatever Nova had been sent to protect, it was there. All right, Chen said, her decision made. We'll set a course for these coordinates, but we go in carefully. We don't know what we'll find there, or if the invaders have followed Nova's trail. As the crew prepared for their new mission, Chen couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. They had set out to explore the universe and find new life. Now, they found themselves thrust into an interstellar conflict with the fate of an entire civilization potentially resting on their shoulders. Nova moved to Chen's side, its fur now a swirling mix of determined red and hopeful gold. The captain placed a gentle hand on the alien's head, feeling a wave of gratitude through their connection. "We'll do everything we can to help your people, Nova," Chen promised. "Humanity may be new to the galactic stage, but we don't turn our backs on those in need." As the UES Horizon changed course, heading towards an uncertain destiny, Chen realized that this was more than just a rescue mission. It was humanity's chance to prove itself on a cosmic scale. The challenges ahead were daunting, but as she looked at her crew, human and alien standing together, she felt a surge of hope. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it united, guided by the best qualities of both their species. The adventure was only beginning, and the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath in anticipation of what was to come. Quantum whispers. The UES Horizon glided through the star-studded void, its destination a small, unremarkable planet that held the key to Nova's people. As they approached, Captain Chen noticed something odd about the ship's systems. Subtle fluctuations in power, slight changes in gravity, nothing dangerous, but definitely unusual. "Taurus, what's going on with our systems?" Chen asked, her brow furrowed. The chief engineer shook his head, puzzled. "I'm not sure, Captain. It's as if the ship is adapting to something." Before Chen could respond, Nova entered the bridge, its fur a swirling pattern of electric blue and silver. The alien moved with purpose towards the main console, placing a paw on the smooth surface. Instantly, the ship's systems stabilized, and a new display flickered to life. "Incredible," breathed Lieutenant Nomura. "Nova's interfacing directly with our technology, but how?" Dr. Reeves, who had followed Nova to the bridge, stepped forward. "I have a theory, Captain. Remember how Nova's people integrated with their environment? I believe Nova is doing the same with our ship. It's not just communication, it's symbiosis." As if to confirm Reed's words, the ship's sensors suddenly extended far beyond their normal range. A 3D map of the surrounding space materialized, showing details they'd never been able to detect before. "Nova's enhancing our systems," Chen realized. But why now? The answer came in a series of vivid mental images shared through their newfound connection. Chen saw vast networks of energy, invisible to human eyes, crisscrossing space. These quantum filaments, as Nova's people called them, were the key to their advanced technology, and the reason they were being hunted. "They're not just telepathic," Chen said slowly, understanding dawning. "They can manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe." Nova trilled in confirmation, its fur now pulsing with a soft, golden light. Through their link, Chen felt a mixture of pride and sorrow. This gift, which allowed Nova's people to build their harmonious civilization, had also made them a target. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. "Multiple ships decloaking," Nomura shouted. "They match the energy signatures of the invaders we saw in Nova's memories." Chen's mind raced. They were outgunned and outnumbered, but maybe with Nova's help, they had a chance. "Nova, can you show us how to use these quantum filaments?" The alien's response was immediate. Knowledge flooded Chen's mind, concepts so advanced they made her head spin, but with it came an understanding of how to apply this knowledge to their situation. "Taurus, reroute power to the deflector dish," Chen ordered. "Nomura, prepare to transmit on my mark." As the enemy ships closed in, Chen felt Nova's presence in her mind, guiding her actions. She input a series of commands, her fingers flying over the console with a certainty that wasn't entirely her own. "Now," Chen shouted, A pulse of energy erupted from the horizon, rippling through space. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, one by one, the enemy ships began to drift, their systems going dark. "What did we do?" Torres asked, staring at the suddenly harmless fleet. "We didn't attack them," Chen explained, the knowledge clear in her mind. "We redirected them. Those ships are now about half a light year away, their systems temporarily scrambled." The crew stared in awe, the implications of what they'd just done sinking in. With Nova's help, they had wielded power beyond anything humanity had ever dreamed of. But their victory was short-lived. Nova suddenly collapsed, its fur fading to a dull gray. Dr. Reeves rushed to the alien's side, scanner in hand. "Nova's energy is dangerously low," Reeves reported. Whatever it just did, it took a severe toll. Chen knelt beside Nova, feeling waves of exhaustion and pain through their connection. "Hold on, little one," she murmured. "We're almost there." As if in response to her words, the planet they'd been seeking came into view. But it wasn't the sanctuary they hoped for. The surface was scarred, evidence of recent attacks clearly visible. "Life signs?" Chen asked, dreading the answer. Nomura checked her readings. "Faint, but present. There are survivors, but they're in bad shape." Chen stood, her decision made. "Prepare a landing party. We're going down there." As they descended to the planet's surface, Chen couldn't shake a feeling of unease. They had glimpsed the power Nova's people possessed, power that could reshape the galaxy. But with that power came terrible danger. The landing party materialized on the planet's surface, surrounded by the ruins of what must have once been a beautiful city. Crystal spires lay shattered, their songs silenced. But amidst the destruction, Chen saw movement. Beings like Nova emerged from hiding places, their fur dim and their movements wary. But as they saw Nova, hope sparked in their large eyes. One of the aliens stepped forward, its fur a deep, wise purple. It placed a paw on Nova's head, and suddenly, Chen felt a new presence in her mind. "Greetings, humans," a voice echoed in her thoughts. "I am Elder Zix. You have our deepest gratitude for saving young Nova and coming to our aid." Chen bowed slightly. "We're glad we could help. But Elder, we need to understand what's happening here. Who are these invaders and what do they want?" Zix's fur rippled with sorrow. "They call themselves the Void Collective. They seek to harness the quantum filaments for themselves, to dominate all of space and time. We have long been the guardians of this knowledge, using it in harmony with the universe. But the collective would upset the cosmic balance for their own gain." "How can we stop them?" Chen asked. "Alone we cannot," Zix replied. "Our numbers are too few, our strength depleted. But perhaps together." The elder trailed off, looking at the humans with a mixture of hope and uncertainty. "Your kind is young, but you have shown great potential. Nova has shared with us your compassion, your ingenuity. If you are willing, we can forge a bond between our peoples. We can teach you the ways of the quantum filaments, and in return, you can help us defeat the collective." Chen looked at her crew, seeing the same determination in their eyes that she felt. They had come seeking new life among the stars. Instead, they had found a cosmic war, with the fate of the universe hanging in the balance. "We're with you," Chen said, her voice firm. "Whatever it takes." As if in response to her words, the quantum filaments suddenly became visible, crisscrossing the sky in a breathtaking display. Chen felt the power thrumming through the air, through the ground beneath her feet, through her very being. A new chapter in human history was beginning. The stars themselves seemed to watch, waiting to see what this unlikely alliance would bring. As human and alien stood together, united against a common threat, the true adventure was only just beginning. The fate of galaxies now rested in their hands, and the universe held its breath, wondering what would come next. Quantum echoes and temporal tides. The alliance between humans and Nova's people, now known as the Quanta, was forged in the crucible of necessity. As Captain Chen and her crew integrated with the surviving quanta, they discovered that the universe was far stranger and more complex than they had ever imagined. Elder Zix led them to an underground chamber, its walls pulsing with living light. At the center stood a structure that defied description, part organic, part crystalline, and wholly alien. "This is the Nexus," Zix explained, his thoughts resonating in their minds. "It is the focal point of our connection to the quantum filaments." As they approached, Chen felt a shift in reality. Time seemed to stretch and compress, and she saw ghostly echoes of herself and her crew scattered around the room. Dr. Rees gasped. Temporal displacement. But how? Nova, now recovered, stepped forward. Its fur shimmered with patterns that seemed to move in more dimensions than should be possible. Through their mental link, Chen understood. "The quantum filaments don't just connect space," she said slowly, the knowledge unfurling in her mind. "They connect time as well." Zix nodded solemnly. "This is the true power the Void Collective seeks. Control over the very fabric of space-time itself." Suddenly, alarms blared. Lieutenant Nomura's voice crackled over the comm. "Captain, we've got a problem. The collective ships we displaced. They're back, and they've brought reinforcements." Chen turned to Zix. "We need to evacuate your people. The horizon." But Zix shook his head. "There is no time, and nowhere in normal space would be safe. No, Captain, we must make our stand here." "How?" Torres asked, his engineer's mind already racing with possibilities. "Even with your technology, we're vastly outnumbered." Nova trilled, its fur pulsing with determination. Through their link, Chen saw a plan forming, audacious, impossible, and yet their only hope. "We're going to use the Nexus," Chen said, the alien knowledge meshing with her human intuition. "We're going to fight them across time itself." What followed was a crash course in quantum manipulation that pushed the limits of human comprehension. The quanta linked minds with the humans, sharing millennia of knowledge in a matter of hours. Chen felt her consciousness expand, touching the quantum filaments that webbed through reality. As the collective ships entered orbit, unleashing a barrage that shook the planet, the defenders put their desperate plan into action. Chen stood at the heart of the Nexus, Nova at her side. With a thought, she reached out along the quantum filaments, her mind stretching across time and space. She saw the collective fleet, not just as it was now, but as it had been and would be. "Now," she commanded, her voice echoing across dimensions. The quanta and humans acted as one. They didn't just fight the ships above them, they fought them across their entire timeline. Weapons fired, striking enemies that wouldn't exist for centuries. Shields flickered, protecting against attacks from the distant past. The battle raged across millennia in the space of moments. Chen saw civilizations rise and fall, stars born and dying, all in the blink of an eye. The strain was immense, threatening to tear her mind apart. But then she felt Nova's presence, anchoring her. The alien's fur had become a window into eternity, patterns shifting in impossible ways. Together, they guided the temporal assault. In orbit, the collective ships found themselves facing an impossible enemy. Their systems crashed as code from the future rewrote their past. Hulls buckled under the strain of weapons that hadn't been invented yet. On the planet's surface, the defenders weren't unscathed. As the battle raged across time, Chen saw members of her crew aging rapidly, then regressing to childhood, caught in temporal eddies. Quanta phased in and out of existence as their timelines were altered and restored. Just when it seemed the fabric of reality itself might tear, there was a shift. The collective fleet, unable to cope with attacks from every point in time simultaneously, began to disintegrate. Ships blinked out of existence, their histories erased. Others fled, jumping to distant parts of the galaxy and distant eras. As suddenly as it had begun, the battle was over. Chen found herself back in the Nexus chamber, gasping for breath. Around her, humans and quanta alike were recovering, their minds reeling from the temporal conflict. Nova nuzzled against her hand, its fur now a calm, deep blue. Through their link, Chen felt a mixture of relief, sorrow, and profound change. "We've won," she said, her voice hoarse. "But at what cost?" Zix approached, his form flickering slightly as he settled back into normal spacetime. "The cost is great, but necessary. The collective is defeated, not just here and now, but across vast swaths of time. We have bought ourselves a reprieve. But they're still out there," Taurus pointed out. "In other times, other places." "Yes," Zix agreed, "and that is why our work is not finished. Captain Chen, your people have proven yourselves beyond our wildest hopes. Will you continue to stand with us?" Chen looked at her crew. They were changed, marked by their experience in ways that went beyond the physical. She saw in their eyes the same thing she felt, a mix of fear and exhilaration at the path that lay before them. "We will," she said firmly. "Earth needs to know what's out here. The collective is a threat not just to your people, but to all of spacetime. We'll face it together." As if in response to her words, the nexus pulsed with energy. The quantum filaments became visible again, but now Chen saw them with new eyes. They weren't just connections, they were possibilities, branching timelines of potential futures. "So," she said, a hint of a smile on her face despite the gravity of the situation, "where and when do we go next?" Nova trilled, its fur shimmering with star charts of uncharted space and timelines yet to unfold. The next phase of their journey was about to begin, a quest not just across the galaxy, but across the very corridors of time itself. As Human and Quanta prepared to step into the unknown, the universe seemed to hold its breath. The battle was won, but the war for the future of reality itself was just beginning. And at the heart of it all stood an unlikely alliance, bound by friendship, necessity, and the quantum threads of destiny. Echoes of infinity. The quantum filaments pulsed with ethereal light as the UES horizon, now fused with quanta technology, navigated the treacherous currents of spacetime. Captain Chen stood on the bridge, her eyes reflecting the swirling vortex of temporal energy that surrounded them. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the bizarre nature of their journey. Lieutenant Nomura's fingers danced across her console, leaving trails of quantum echoes. "We're approaching the temporal nexus point, Captain. Chronometric readings are fluctuating wildly." Dr. Rees, his hair now streaked with silver from their temporal battles, looked up from his station. "Captain, I'm detecting something unprecedented. It appears we're not just traveling through time, but between realities." Before Chen could respond, Nova bounded onto the bridge, its fur a kaleidoscope of shifting dimensions. Through their mental link, Chen saw what Nova had discovered. They weren't just fighting the Void Collective across time, but across parallel universes. Suddenly, alarms blared. The ship shuddered, caught in a gravitational eddy of colliding timelines. "Multiple contacts," Taurus shouted. "But they're us." The view screen flickered to life, showing a dizzying array of alternate versions of the horizon. Some were nearly identical, others wildly different. Organic ships grown from living metal, vessels of pure energy, even a steampunk version powered by impossible etheric engines. Chen's mind raced. The collective isn't just invading our timeline. They're conquering entire alternate realities. Nova trilled in agreement, its thoughts conveying a plan so audacious it bordered on madness. They needed to unite, not just with their own alternate selves, but with parallel versions of the quanta from across the multiverse. "Open a channel to all versions of the horizon," Chen ordered, "and prepare for multi-dimensional docking procedures." What followed was a reunion across realities. Chen found herself face-to-face with countless versions of herself, some nearly identical, others drastically changed by the circumstances of their universes. There was a Chen who had been assimilated by benevolent nanites, another who commanded a fleet of sentient planets, and even one who had merged with a cosmic entity to become a living constellation. As the various crews mingled, exchanging knowledge and technology, the full scope of the threat became clear. The Void Collective wasn't just a group of conquerors, they were multiversal parasites, consuming entire realities to fuel their expansion. In the Horizon's newly expanded engine room, now a cathedral of impossibly advanced technology, Taurus worked with his alternate cells to integrate their various technologies. Quantum drives merged with zero-point modules, dark matter reactors, and even engines that ran on distilled imagination. Dr. Reeves led a team of his counterparts in the med bay, now transformed into a nexus of healing that transcended the laws of physics. They developed cures for temporal displacement, crafted shields against reality distortion, and even found a way to stabilize those crew members who had been fractured across multiple timelines. But it was in the heart of the ship, in a chamber that existed simultaneously in all linked realities, that the true work began. There, surrounded by a council of Zixes from across the multiverse, Chen and her alternate selves formulated a plan to end the collective's threat once and for all. Nova, now joined by a chorus of its own alternates, became a conduit for knowledge that spanned infinite realities. Through their expanded link, Chen saw the truth. The quantum filaments weren't just the structure of space-time, they were the very threads of creation itself. We don't just need to defeat the collective, Chen realized, the knowledge burning in her mind like a newborn star. We need to rewrite the fundamental laws of the multiverse to make their existence impossible. The plan they forged was beyond audacious. They would use the combined power of every linked reality to create a new universe, one where the malevolent goals of the collective couldn't take root. But to do so, they would need to sacrifice their own realities, merging them into this new creation. As the allied fleet of Horizons prepared for their final battle, Chen felt the weight of infinite possibilities on her shoulders. She looked around at her crew, human, quanta, and everything in between, seeing in their eyes the same mix of fear and determination she felt. No matter what happens, she said, her voice carrying across dimensions, it has been an honor to serve with all of you, in this reality and every other. With a thought, amplified by the combined will of countless linked minds, they engaged their impossible engines. The fleet surged forward, not through space or time, but through the very fabric of reality itself. As they approached the heart of the collective's multi-dimensional empire, Chen saw that enemy clearly for the first time. The collective wasn't a fleet, or even a civilization. It was a cancer on reality, a void of anti-creation that threatened to consume everything. The battle that followed defied description. Ships phased in and out of existence, weapons fire rewrote the laws of physics, and entire universes were born and died in the space between moments. Chen found herself simultaneously on the bridge of 1,000 ships and in the heart of a newborn cosmos. At the crucial moment, as reality itself began to buckle under the strain, Chen felt Nova's presence, not just one Nova, but an infinity of them. Together, they reached out along the quantum filaments, grasping the very strands of creation. With a thought that echoed across eternity, they began to weave. Time stretched, compressed, shattered, and reformed. Chen saw the entire history of the multiverse flash before her eyes, past, present, future, and impossible alternatives, all merging into a new whole. She felt herself coming apart, her consciousness spreading across infinite possibilities. And then, with a soundless explosion that resonated through every level of existence, it was done. Chen found herself on a bridge, familiar yet new. Around her she saw her crew, but changed. Each of them now carried echoes of their alternate selves, their experiences and knowledge merged into singular, infinite beings. Nova stood beside her, its fur now a window into the new universe they had created. Through their link, Chen understood. They had done it. The Void Collective was gone, erased not just from existence, but from possibility. But the cost had been beyond measure. Their original realities were gone, merged into this new creation. They were the last echoes of what had been, and the first explorers of what now was. As the new UES Horizon cruised through a cosmos that sparkled with renewed vitality, Chen felt a mix of sorrow for what was lost and hope for what was to come. They had saved reality itself, but their journey was far from over. "Where to now, Captain?" Nomura asked, her voice carrying the wisdom of countless lifetimes. Chen smiled, feeling the quantum filaments humming with new possibilities. "Everywhere," she said. "Everywhere. We have a whole new multiverse to explore." As the ship accelerated into the unknown, Chen felt the weight of their victory, the sorrow of their sacrifice, and the thrill of uncharted infinity stretching out before them. The adventure, it seemed, was only just beginning. Synchronicity of fractals. As the new HFY horizon sailed through the reborn cosmos, Captain Chen and her crew began to notice something peculiar. The universe they had created wasn't just a merger of their previous realities. It was evolving, growing more complex with each passing moment. Nova, its fur now a living fractal of infinite complexity, communicated an urgent revelation. The quantum filaments they had woven weren't just passive structures. They were alive, conscious, and rapidly gaining sentience. Dr. Rees, his eyes now pools of swirling galaxies, analyzed the data. "Captain, it appears our act of creation has sparked a cascading effect of emergent consciousness. The universe itself is waking up." As if in response to his words, the ship shuddered. The walls seemed to breathe, and for a moment, everyone on board felt their consciousness expand to encompass the entire vessel. "We're not just in the ship," Torres gasped, his voice resonating with harmonic overtones. "We are the ship." Chen felt it too. The boundaries between individual, ship, and cosmos were blurring. She raised a hand, watching in awe as it dissolved into streams of quantum information, then reformed. "What's happening to us?" Nomura asked, her body flickering between solid form and pure energy. Before anyone could answer, a new presence made itself known. It wasn't a voice or even a thought, but a fundamental shift in the fabric of reality. The quantum filaments, now fully awake, were trying to communicate. Chen felt her mind stretch, expanding to encompass perspectives she had never imagined. She saw the universe not as a collection of separate objects and beings, but as a unified, living fractal, each part containing and reflecting the whole. "It's beautiful," she whispered, tears of liquid light streaming down her cheeks. But with this new perception came a troubling realization. The universe they had created, in its rapid evolution towards consciousness, was becoming unstable. The very laws of physics were shifting, rewriting themselves in real time as the cosmos explored its newfound sentience. Nova trilled, its form now more abstract concept than physical being. Through their link, Chen understood the danger. If this continued unchecked, the universe would think itself out of existence, collapsing into a singularity of pure thought. "We need to stabilize it," Chen declared, her voice carrying the weight of cosmic law. But how? The answer came not from any individual, but from the collective consciousness that now permeated the ship. They needed to become anchors, living embodiments of the fundamental constants that held reality together. What followed was a transformation beyond anything they had experienced before. Each crew member volunteered to become a universal constant, their very being merging with the fabric of spacetime. Nomura stepped forward first, her form dissolving into a shower of light. She became the speed of light, her consciousness expanding to maintain the cosmic speed limit across all of reality. Taurus was next, his body expanding to encompass vast regions of space. He became gravity, his thoughts holding galaxies together, his emotions causing ripples in the curvature of spacetime. Dr. Rees smiled serenely as he faded from view, his mind merging with the quantum foam of spacetime. He became uncertainty, ensuring that the universe retained its fundamental unpredictability and potential for growth. One by one, the crew transcended their physical forms, becoming living embodiments of the forces that governed the cosmos. Chen watched with a mixture of awe and sorrow as her friends and colleagues ascended to a new plane of existence. Finally, only Chen and Nova remained. They looked at each other, a universe of understanding passing between them. "Together?" Chen asked, extending her hand. Nova trilled in agreement, its form shifting to mirror her own. As one, they stepped into the heart of creation. Chen felt her consciousness expand beyond anything she had ever imagined. She was everywhere and everywhen, her thoughts resonating through the quantum filaments that webbed through reality. She became time itself, the steady flow that gave shape and meaning to existence. Nova, intertwined with her essence, became space, the canvas upon which the grand tapestry of the cosmos was painted. Together, they held the universe in balance, their merged consciousness providing the stability needed for reality to flourish. They watched as new life emerged, civilizations rose and fell, and the great dance of creation continued. But they were not gone, not really. In every moment of temporal flux, explorers would feel the guiding hand of Chen. In every uncharted corner of the cosmos, pioneers would sense the playful spirit of Nova. And sometimes, on ships sailing the cosmic seas, crews would tell stories of the legendary UES Horizon and its valiant crew, the beings who had saved reality itself and ascended to become the very constants that held the universe together. As aeons passed and the cosmos continued to grow and evolve, Chen and Nova, along with their transcended crew, watched over their creation. They had become more than explorers, more than heroes. They were the guardians of a living, thinking universe, ensuring that the great cosmic story would continue, filled with wonder, discovery, and the infinite potential for new adventures. And in the depths of space, in the swirling heart of a newborn galaxy, a ship much like the old Horizon set out on its maiden voyage. Its crew, filled with the same spirit of exploration and unity that had driven Chen and her team, looked out at the infinite possibilities before them. Unknown to them, they carried within their very atoms the essence of those who had come before, the legacy of beings who had touched the face of creation and become one with the cosmic dance. As they charted their course into the unknown, the universe itself seemed to whisper, "The adventure never truly ends, it only transforms, eternal and ever new."